The blame game. Lose it to win at anything. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa. I'm the Director of Marketing at IdeaPros, and I have Fred Cary, CEO of IdeaPros. Hey, Fred.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, thank you.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about a subject that I think comes into play when you have to do all of the things, right? It's easy to blame other people when you're the entrepreneur, the one who's in charge. You've seen this a lot lately too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Uh,
I know
gosh.
you talked about this on your Instagram live, but can you give us kind of an idea of like, why does this happen?
Yeah, and it's convenient, It starts happening when you're 4 or 5 years old, and if we don't fix it, it happens all of our lives. When you're in the playground and you want to be the fastest climber on the monkey bars or whatever, and you're not, it's probably because you're not trying hard. It's the other person is, right? And as you want to be the best student in your high school and you're not, well, it has to do with you and you not trying hard enough to be that. And we carry that all through our lives because it becomes convenient. It's a lot easier to say somebody cheated or somebody owes me something or I didn't have a fair chance than it is to say, I need to work harder. I need to take control. I need to be responsible. I need to do the best I can. You still may not be the kid that climbs the monkey bars the fastest, but you're going to climb the fastest you possibly can. And when you don't blame people and you just challenge yourself over and over again. And yes, we talked about this on Wednesday on Instagram. We're going to go more in depth here today because we have entrepreneurs watching that have their own businesses that they're trying to start. And for me, it's something that you have to grasp and you have to get a hold of. If you don't, you're never ever going to make it. And this actually was inspired by a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. I literally spent 2 or 3 hours speaking with a federal agency that where a couple of old partners of ours had basically said, hey, well, we were supposed to be made famous or we were supposed to be successful and we're not. And, it's their fault. And I was flabbergasted that we had to sit and talk about something like that and had to explain to the federal government that people don't automatically become successful because they want to be. People don't climb the monkey bars because they think they can. People become successful because of their own efforts. And companies like ours provide a platform to make it easier and to make sure you have all the pieces, but it's still really, really hard. And so
before you dive into that, because I know we have some people over here in the chat. So guys, let us know if you're watching live. But I know that it's easy for us to say, oh, that's not me. I don't blame. I'm not passing the blame on to anyone else. And I've had Fred actually point out a couple of times where he's like, you know what, you're doing it. You're passing that blame, but it's really easy to kind of disguise it. To you, it's like, hey, I couldn't accomplish this because of X, right? We love to do that, especially for high achievers. And I'm one of those that's a people pleaser and a high achiever. So it's really hard for me to say, hey, I couldn't hit my goal because of these other pieces. And so I love just saying, hey, we all probably are doing this. So in the chat, let us know if you've done that, if you've been guilty of passing the blame, even if it is just, I couldn't do this because. That's like I'm guilty of personally. So I wanted to make sure you guys know that it's okay. And we're going to talk about it and what to do about it.
And I think that deserves a moment of silence here, reflection from you. That's incredible, and that's when you own it, then you can control it, and when you can control it, you can fix it.
Once you said it, it's stuck in my head. Now I see it more and more. And somebody that cares about you may point this out and say, hey, you're doing this right now. We don't even realize that we're doing it. And I never intended for it to be like I'm blaming someone else because I'm a huge team player. So I would never say that, it was somebody else's fault. It's just innately you do that. You don't realize that you're doing it. So yes,
Yeah.
I admit it. I am guilty, but I'm learning and starting to change that action and say, hey, what could I have done differently?
Yeah. And it's simple little, and thank you, by the way, for that.
Oh.
It's simple little things that set the stage for building this blame game out to extraordinary levels. And it's even just the little things like being late for things and saying, blaming your former meeting or the traffic or whatever it is that you want to have. These little things that happen every day in your life that set the stage, the foundation, the viral growth within you of this negativity
Mhm.
that ends up permeating your life. So if you want to do little things, before we talk about the big things, if you want to do little things to start making a difference, we had, in fact, he was here again today, uh, Robert Richmond, who was one of the founders over at Zappos and who teaches Fortune 500 companies all around the world on culture, company culture, and how to get everybody involved and everybody doing the right thing and everybody being responsible. And one of the things he talked about is the fact that he was 4 minutes late to our meeting today, by the way.
Oh,
You
good.
stand the punchline that I gave you ahead of time. He said that in the meetings that he has, or specifically that the CEO of Zappos had as well, they were never late, ever, to any meeting. And that struck home when he first said that 2 weeks ago. And now I've made it my choice to try to be in every meeting on time or a little bit early. Be the first one there in the Zoom meeting, for example. And I've failed once. I was a minute late for one meeting, and that's it in a 2 week period of time. And that shows responsibility and that shows ownership. And one of the things that I've told my crew now is as we all start to try to do that, that when you're late for a meeting, try this on for size. Instead of saying, "Hey, I'm really sorry, my other meeting, I couldn't get out of my other meeting," um, try to say this: "I'm sorry I'm late, but the meeting that I was in was more important than meeting with you."
If I say that to Fred, he's going to freak out though.
But you're not going to say it to anybody more than once or twice before you realize the impact of what you're saying. Right? And the reality is, you can establish your guidelines of how long you're going to spend in any meeting ahead of time. When you have a hard stop at 11 a.m., for example, hey guys, thanks for meeting with me today. Just want you to know I got to be out of here by 10 till 11. I have another meeting at 11. I got to be on time for. I need to prep for it. So let's make sure we understand that timeline. And then as you get closer to the timeline, remind them that you got 2 minutes before you have to bail.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to use
Right?
that for sure.
So when you start doing things like that and start taking ownership for the little things, then that ownership starts working its way up to the big things like Fred didn't make me successful type of the ultimate loser argument, because that is, you've completely given up control of your future to a third party. And you never want to do that, no matter what it is that you're trying to do. When you do that, you lose control. When you lose control, you lose your ability to win, because it's so much easier to sit back and say, he made me not do it.
See,
You're,
I'm on mute. I'm on mute. It has to say it at least once every time. That I think that's why we're all entrepreneurs, though. The reason why we want to do this or go on this crazy journey is because we want to have control over our future. So we don't want a boss telling us what we're going to achieve. So I mean, that innately, our partners, or even you guys that are watching, you entrepreneurs, you know that you have to take control over your own success. But it is really easy to say it was some other condition, like right now with the economy the way it is and everything, or COVID. A lot of people are saying, well, COVID happened, so I'm not where I want to be. It's easy to blame other things, even if they're not people.
yeah. And the biggest thing is, it's easier to blame when you focus on time, right? I'm a COVID, so I'm not where I want to be, and so therefore the world sucks. Well, the world sucks for everybody. And so when you're looking at progress instead of time, am I progressing? Am I learning more? Am I getting further on my journey? Am I working my way through things? Then time doesn't matter, because time becomes secondary as long as you're waking up today and you've done or are going to do a little bit more than you did yesterday. You're further along your journey. If you can start thinking that way, then the opportunity to start blaming people. That engineering firm, they said this was going to be done in 3 weeks. It's 4.5 weeks. It's still not done. I hate my life. I hate my engineers. Life is hard. Engineering is particularly hard. App development is really hard. Any type of professionals that you have working with you on your journey, there are going to be starts and stops. There are going to be delays. There are going to be things like, oh, by the way, Russia attacked the Ukraine, where we have a lot of developers. That's going to put a damper on things just a little bit when they don't have electricity and they're hiding in cellars, and you're complaining because something's taking a little longer. Or as you talked about with COVID, it's a once in a lifetime pandemic situation. It's going to affect everybody. It's not about you, it's about the world. How do you take that macro environment and work with it? Some of the biggest, best companies, and we did a show about this before, in the world came from really bad times. Companies like Google, Airbnb, Uber, all really started building out when the economy sucked. And they took that opportunity to hunker down, to focus on the prize that they needed to establish and to work through things and make sure that they did it really well, so that when they did come out and things were starting to turn around, they had an opportunity to have the wind in their sails and to go towards success. So when you take blame out of the equation, you put power into the equation. And when you put power
I
into
like
the
that.
equation, that gives you the self-confidence you're going to need to be the CEO you're going to become once your company launches.
That's amazing. So, do you have other tips for us on how we can, or how to deal with situations? I know we're faced with those all the time where somebody is blaming you. So, what if you're the one who's getting the blame pointed at you?
Well, in that, and by the way, that happens every day around here. You know, we have. By the way, I want to interrupt for this important community message. We have a lot of people. We have a bunch of partners, and so when you have that many people, you have all sorts of different personalities, all sorts of different expectations, and we have some people that are not happy with it's just going too long, or I'm not as far as I want to be, or this finished product isn't exactly what I envisioned in the beginning, or whatever. There are people that complain, have issues, and we work together as partners to try to fix them. There are other people that, very, very few people, like the couple of people that complain that we're not making them successful, that just are never going to be successful. But the vast majority of our partners, whether it takes a long time, a short time, whether it's exactly what they want at the end or something that they can run with, the vast majority of our partners are real entrepreneurs who really appreciate the experience that they're getting, the knowledge and the mentoring that they're getting, and the ability to know that we're building out the right things and we're not building out things that don't matter. So in any event, what we need to focus on here as entrepreneurs is the ability to move forward. And that ability to move forward depends on us. Every single day when we wake up, we have to do things that are going to push the ball from here to here on our journey to there.
I love it. Well, I know we have some people in the chat. I'm going to hold off until the end, and then I'm going to come back to you and put some of your comments on the screen. But one of the things that we're actually doing, I think it is important to show the good side. I know you guys hear us all the time talking about, getting your testimonials together, getting the good, positive things together, so that when things come up, you can actually go back to that and look at what successes you have had, or your mini victories, or your comments that people have made. So gathering up some of those good things. We have a show that we're going to be sending out to you guys for next week that is all good stuff. So if you feel like you're on the little of the negative side, we're going to have a super positive show from our partners of all kinds of wins and things that they're doing right now, which I'd love. And I see you over there, Crash Pad Products, which is one of the products that you can buy from us, from IdeaPros, I would say. But we're going to, take some time and find those good things, those good times. If you're in a negative place or you feel like you're blaming everyone, find something good.
Yeah. And so entrepreneurs bleed every single day. If you're not ready to bleed, don't be an entrepreneur. Things are really, really difficult. Think about it. Whatever you're creating, whether it's a small product, whether it's this amazing new app, whether it's very, very complicated electronics you're dealing with, whatever you're working on is something that doesn't exist for the most part. So when you're building something that doesn't exist, there are plenty of opportunities on a daily basis to fail. And the blame game sucks away at the entrepreneurial spirit that you need to win. Every single successful company out there, without exception, failed multiple times before they got to where they are today. Every one of them. The guys at Airbnb, when they were blowing up their two little air mattresses that they were trying to rent out for the weekend in San Francisco, had a resort to go selling giant cereal boxes of McCain flakes and Obama O's during the presidential election to try to make enough money to be able to go buy ramen so they could eat. These things are not overnight, and every one of us ends up against a brick wall. But that brick wall can be bashed through. It's not a place where you need to stop. It's a place where you need to reflect and make sure, am I going in the right direction? Do I need to go? Is there a door over here? Or do I need to crash through that wall? And if you have the blame game thinking, you're going to be, wow, somebody put me up against a wall. I hate my life. I hate them. This is never going to work, and it's not my fault. Nothing works the first time, and nothing is anybody's fault. The fault lies in you. If you have a belief and you want to change the world, or you want to change your world, but you're not willing to do the hard work to be the first one to climb up those monkey bars.
I love it. Well, thank you, Fred. And some of the things that we're hearing over on the side of it, obviously everyone agrees on the schedule. So that was really, really popular. And I am so often guilty, and you partners know, because I give every last second to partners. So I am working on that. I'm actually going to be early, and how Fred was describing it as well. But I do think, Rena, it's night, or Rennie, I don't know how you pronounce your name, but it's great to see you. I know you're one of our first time, or maybe one of our first time visitors. So it's fun to have you here. Successful being on time. It's definitely when it's a startup too. And Vanessa says she crashes through walls. Absolutely. And Vanessa actually is literally crashing through and launching her product. She placed an order, and we will have Zwizzy up for sale shortly. And
awesome. I love that product.
That one is so cool. And we'll have her on as soon as she has some in her hot little hand, so we can show you guys that. And then we have Kelly with Sage Scheduler over there. I think that one of the last things I really want to focus on for all of you is that you need that support system to be able to get through these things. And we have a great support system with IdeaPros, but more than that, you can go get extra inspiration from Fred's Instagram page. If you haven't, I think that that's a really good place to go to if you want to realign your mindset with your business. Go check out official Fred Cary on Instagram, and make sure you guys follow us. Did you have anything else you want to say before we go, Fred?
Well, number one, thank you to the hundreds of really good partners that we have, and the dozens that are going live as we speak and are showing successes. We're going to show you some of that stuff next week. I really appreciate all of you, and I'm so happy to be on the entrepreneurial journey with you. As our own company, we have some really awesome things going on, some very, very high-powered people that have agreed to work with us and help our partners out. We're going to be doing, and I know I never really talk about just our partners and try to keep this for everybody. But if you are our partner and you're getting ready to launch and you're thinking you want to do a pitch for somebody, check with Tessa, because we're picking 5 people. We got Robert Richmond. As I said, look him up, robertrichmond.com. You'll see he works with all the biggest companies in the world. They all think he's amazing. He's going to help 5 of us work on a pitch deck, get it all memorialized. In our next all partner meeting that we have on the second Tuesday of every month, 5 of you are going to present to the whole group of partners to show what you got.
That's so exciting. Awesome. Well, thank you, Fred, for doing that and for setting up these relationships. That's crazy. I mean, some of the people that Fred's worked with it just blows my mind that you have those connections. So thank you again. And we will see you next week, Fred. Thanks. Oh, actually,
Right.
next week we're going to have that show. So you guys are going to get to see. And
But
if you
I'm gonna listen in.
yeah, Fred will listen in. I'll be there live, even though we're doing it. So you guys will be there. But if you're interested in being on that show and you have a really great testimonial, a story, journey with us, or even in your entrepreneurial journey, let me know. Send me a message on Facebook or let me know in DM. I want to get those together and have them in this compilation. You have to submit them by Tuesday, and I don't know what the date is on Tuesday, but it's this Tuesday. So literally in like 3 or 4 days so that I have time to process it.
And
So,
Vanessa says, I love IdeaPros in all caps.
yes. Oh my gosh.
We love
I
you.
see it. We love you, Vanessa. Thank you. And thank you,
care.
Odin, for saying it's always inspiring. Appreciate you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you, guys. All right. So I'm going to go through and say, I know we have a bunch of people here. So Kelly, great to have you. I know Robert F. I know it was frozen for a minute there. I hope it's back to normal for you. Of course, Odin. And Odin's an amazing coach, guys. So if you need some marketing coaching, he's awesome. And then we have Renee from Santa Ana, California. Great to have you. And oh, Vanessa. So of course, with Swizzy, Brandon, good to have you here. I know I saw one of your comments as well. I want to get to that too. And Ken Knoll with crashpadproducts.com. So I guess your domain is now buy.crashpadproducts.com. So I'll have to update that in my system. I didn't know it was buy at the beginning. And of course, getswizzy.com, ZWIZZY.com. And Odin, CrashPad is amazing. I actually have it in my office and we're starting to move. And so it is going to be very important on my car when we start doing that. So, oh, I love it. Brandon, you're hilarious. Your parents' fault. You're so good looking and it's your fault. You're so successful. Well, congratulations. And good to see you, Mark, with Fallout. Hello. And let's just see. Oh, okay, perfect. If you want to be on for the pitch opportunity again, I'm going to go ahead and make a note and reach out to you, but DM me on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, Tessa at IdeaPros.com, and we'll get you on for the pitch opportunity. Hey, Martin, good to have you. And that's with Grunt. Awesome app. We actually needed it this weekend. I'm so sad it's not fully launched yet because we were in desperate need of your app. And Hector, great to see you as always. Okay, guys, so if you haven't hit the bell to get reminders when we go live, do that. And we will see you guys all next week with a really cool compilation show because my house is up for an open house. So if you guys need a beautiful little farmhouse with a creek, all right, guys, we'll see you all next week. Bye.